Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the GG Report. My name is Godfrey. I'm your host today, and I'm glad that you tuned in. So we want you to join us today. Please remember to share. We are live on Facebook, Elevate TV Kenya, and on YouTube, Elevate TV Kenya. So please remember to share widely, and welcome to today's conversation. Our subject today, we're going to be looking at reshaping business strategy 2022 and beyond. And I have a special guest on the set today, Nyakan June. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, your name mixes me up a little bit, but yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you to today's conversation, and we're going to be looking back at the last 2 years. The last 2 years have witnessed unprecedented change in the business environment, the effect of which will reverberate within business in the next couple of years. And so the key question we are asking ourselves is, how is this going to shape business strategy? And I have a guest on the set that is going to help us, dive into this particular question of how this is going to shape strategy. So, welcome to the GG Report. As always, the GG Report is a platform for big, bold ideas, honest conversations on a broad range of subjects, matters, political, economic, philosophical, theological. Today, this is an economics and business conversation, and I believe you're going to enjoy a lot. We are obviously bringing it from a biblical Christian perspective. We'll try to be as practical as possible. So take your pen and paper. Perhaps you will learn a thing or two. All right, so before we dive into the conversation, I want to introduce our guest to us. My guest today is Nyakan June, and Nyakan is a global leader, innovator, and transformational leader and business strategist. Madam Nyakan is the chair of the Global Innovation Society of Kenya. That's an interesting organization, going to tell us what that means. She's also the founder and global CEO of Timeless Dynamic Services Limited. That's a consulting arm that she leads. And she's also director of LIB Insurance, founder and global CEO, Timeless Women of Wonder, a Pan-African organization driving socio-economic transformation by bringing women into the center of development. I know women will not be left behind. So this is going to be very, very interesting. So Nyakan is also a member of the board of the County Pension Fund, and he's going to be telling us more about that. So welcome to the show, and let's get the conversation going. So my friend, it's good to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
Very well.
Yes.
So as always, I know I have done a big introduction.
Yes.
But I would like you to perhaps, revisit that and tell us a little bit more about your background, your career background, and how you got to where you are right now. Just kind of in a very summarized way.
Yes.
Yes.
It's very interesting. I find myself very multifaceted.
Yes.
I'm actually a computer scientist.
Oh.
And a business process engineering expert.
Okay.
Yeah, and my passion actually is transformation.
Yes.
and innovation.
Yes.
I have noticed that in all my life, since I was young as a child,
Yes.
I always questioned why, why are we doing things like this? Could we do them better?
All right.
And I was not afraid of change.
Okay.
So I think building that into my career has been something that, was very interesting. After graduating in college, I built a career as a senior consultant, in the multinationals,
Yes.
just turning around business across different sectors,
Okay.
driving efficiency, productivity, and then change through technology.
Okay.
And then after a while, in 2004, I had what people would call an unfortunate incident, but for me, it was a profound time, a turning point in my life, when I was diagnosed with a potentially terminal illness. And I call it potentially terminal because I lived through it. We were expecting our second child.
All right.
And, I had a condition that was challenging my life.
Okay.
Well, living through that made me reflect upon my life and the legacy that I would leave if I was going to die. I think time, effort, and money.
Okay.
So what I thought we needed to do was to look at platforms that were going to solve Africa's problems and create wealth, look at the strategies that are relevant to drive business in the continent across all sectors.
Exactly.
Harness our innovation and map them into change and actually provide leadership that is actually strategic and impactful. So that's where I am.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I think you've... I like the fact that you bring in a very broad range of skills and competencies and ideas into the marketplace. And that's amazing. So tell us a little bit about, that transformational moment, maybe perhaps, because, remember, how did that kind of shape your spiritual, your relationship with God and all that? So maybe we can also bring that into that conversation.
You mean my health challenge?
Yeah, yes.
My goodness.
Yes.
That was a profound moment in every dimension.
Yes.
In terms of mental, my outlook in life,
yes.
my spirituality,
yes.
and my connection and relationship with God.
Yes.
When you're faced with death,
right,
and logic, science, biology, everything that you know,
yes,
challenges that reality. There's no way of living.
Yes.
You have to tap into a higher way.
Absolutely.
And that way can only be God.
Yes.
You have to go to the word that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Absolutely.
You can go to a point where you read the Bible and say that Jesus died on the cross to save me, okay, to heal all my disease, whichever has been given a name and the one that does not have a name.
Yes.
Whatever that sickness,
yes.
Jesus already died and he said it is finished.
Yes.
You have to tap onto the power of the word and make it alive. It
right.
has to come alive.
Yes.
So I immersed myself in the word of God, in the things of God, in meditating, in trying to have a real connection with God and really having conversations with God like, this is a good time for you to show up.
Right.
This is the time we see your power at work. This is the time you prove that you can do all things,
yes.
that you can override everything that there is.
Absolutely.
And he did, because I lived supernaturally.
Right.
It was a supernatural, second chance of life, for real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I guess that also shaped, your passion for transformation.
Oh, yes.
Because you had to work out, it's like you had to go through your own personal internal transformation, the way you saw yourself, and the reality that you had to face, and even, just the thought that,
GK,
how will I...
You have two options in that. You be an ostrich and bury your head in the sand, or you face the reality, which is you're possibly going to die. And in that face of that, you have to play your movie. My movie played before me.
Yes.
And I was looking at my life to that point and questioning, what was it about?
Right.
Was I leaving a legacy? What
right.
would people say if I died? When I died? What would be left behind? And you've got to you cannot lie to yourself.
Yes.
You will know if you have created impact, and you will know when you haven't.
Yes.
And for me, all I could see was a big mess.
Yes.
Some emptiness.
Yes.
And it pointed me to something that I should have been doing, or a path that I should have been on that I wasn't on.
Okay.
And that path was all about transformation, impact, and the lives of others.
Absolutely.
And the scope was Africa for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You decided you're going to stretch yourself out.
Yes.
Your vision.
Yes.
you expanded your vision.
Yes.
Instead of just looking at the Kenya.
Yes.
You said, I'm going to influence the whole of Africa.
Yes. Yes.
I like the way, everywhere, global CEO, global timeless dynamic services limited.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now the word global became
Yes,
like
a reality.
like a village. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And that's a very good beginning place. And I think that really then leads us to look at the last 2 years, and that's what we began with. The last 2 years obviously have created, as it were, we went through this sort of a crisis moment. The whole world, COVID came and completely disrupted the way we were operating. Businesses had to close down, government had to close down. I remember when we now started showing up in the house at 7 p.m.
Yes.
and it's like it was so odd for many men, to be seated in the house
Yes.
at 7 o'clock. Don't go anywhere.
Yes.
Stay home.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So, and now we've come through all that. Now we don't have those restrictions. We can move about. Of course, there are still a few limited restrictions. So that kind of whole transformative season. So what were the lessons that were learned? And especially we're looking business, both local and global business, the lessons we learned and maybe the lessons we missed.
Absolutely. I just want to pull back a little bit to my profound, challenging moment.
Yes, that's fine.
And some of the things that came out of that period, which has shaped how I see even periods like this whole COVID transition time.
Yes.
And the crisis that we faced initially.
Yes.
Now it's moving to a new normal.
Yes.
Was when your whole life is challenged suddenly without notice.
Yes.
Because that health challenge came without notice.
Yes.
There was no notice that you were going to become sick and you are going to face a potentially terminal illness and possibly you could die. There was no notice. It just landed.
Yes.
And in the face of such crisis, you have to have two choices. When you look at science, human beings, when they're facing crisis, you have fight or flight.
Yes.
Sink or swim. You have those moments. You can either choose to determine your perspective of what's coming at you, which will determine how far you go.
Yes.
Or how far you sink. So, I found that season built my boldness and courage and will.
Right.
And perspective, because a positive attitude and mindset was really key, and a strong will to desire to live.
Right.
Very important.
Yes.
So even in the face and the wake of COVID,
Yes.
it came at us. It had no notice.
Yes.
We all just woke up and the whole world was shutting down.
Yes.
There was no time to sort of prepare and map out. We didn't even understand what it was.
Yes.
We didn't understand what the new way was going to even look like.
Yes.
But if you keep those elements, your attitude, trying to see how this storm can be used to make you sail higher, like the eagle.
Yes.
If you keep an aptitude, a strong will, and a desire to want to succeed in spite,
Yes.
then you already set yourself up for facing that storm.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the disposition, whether it's an institution, and the role of leadership, we're going to talk about it later, in our conversation. But you have to have leaders who can see beyond the storm.
Right.
And who can steer beyond the storm.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I love that. I love that, ladies and gentlemen, you follow this conversation. We're talking about reshaping strategy and how things, have changed since the 2020 March when the country was locked down. And so we talk about leaders who must see beyond the storm.
Yes.
And that's very, very important. So you need to pay attention to that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now let's look at just what COVID, in the wave of COVID, the things that happened. The world of work changed forever.
Right. Yes.
The world of education changed forever. Our perspective, even our characteristics and our temperament has been challenged.
That's true.
And when you look at the way of work, the education system that prepares you for the way of work, in the way that we knew work to be,
Yes.
in the way we knew the marketplace to be, in the factors that affect business that we knew, our personalities and temperaments had also determined our choices for where we position ourselves.
Yes.
From how we work, which organization we work for, how we do our business, which sector we are in,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They were all determined with things that we sort of had been able to have a level of control over and a level of understanding
We
about.
have taken them for granted.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, the world of work suddenly changes, the environment changes, the reality, including our health, our ability to work.
Yes.
There's never been a time in history, more than now, when we each individually have to take care of our health, We have to be more conscious. Before, we were just moving along. If you found yourself sick, that's when you take note of whatever is going on.
Yes.
But now we are more conscious, and we have to be more conscious about our health.
Yes.
Because we can't take it for granted that we're just going to go about life.
Right.
So, you know, our education, what are we teaching? Are we preparing? In fact, the whole education system must change.
And I like you know, you're being very precise with your words. The education system.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a system. You see,
Yes.
there are a lot of inputs,
Absolutely.
systems, and outputs,
Yes.
and you know, feedback loops.
Yes, yes.
So within the system, so that then, if you change something here, it will affect something else somewhere there. Yeah.
So how are we preparing people for the way of work?
Okay.
And for the environment of business, right? The education system was mapped based on what we knew to be normal then.
Okay.
But the new normal is so different.
Yes.
The new normal forever will have to have technology
Exactly.
in it. The virtual reality will be there. Artificial intelligence is going to be a reality. The use of data is
Right.
going to be critical, because we have to be mapping what are the trends, what is data telling us,
Yes.
what are people doing in different parts in East Africa. Now more than ever, the stability that we took for granted pre-COVID,
Yes.
we can no longer take for granted.
Absolutely.
Because what Kenya is doing today is based on Kenya's context, Kenya's laws, Kenya's reality, Kenya's decision making from a political and governmental level. The government determines the environment of Kenya and the decisions it has to take.
Yes.
You cannot assume that Uganda, our neighbor, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi will take the same decisions.
Absolutely.
So in the area of business, you cannot take that for granted and say, now I'll just, in 6 months, I'll be trading with Burundi. You don't know what Burundi is going to wake up and decide for their environment,
Absolutely.
their government policies,
Yes.
and their laws, including health,
Yes.
health mandates and
They might
advisories.
decide, no, we don't want Kenyans in Burundi because Kenyans are infected with COVID.
Exactly. And if your major exporter or importer was in Burundi, your trade partner,
Yeah.
your life changes instantly.
Exactly.
So you've got to start becoming agile in your thinking, in how you're mapping, in how you're doing business, and
Absolutely.
opening up and being more open. Look at Japan. Japan is one of the 2 countries that so far, based on the data that they have shared, they have said they have sort of brought COVID to an almost 0 level.
Okay.
And they have even stopped the vaccinations
Okay.
because they've managed to curb it. But what have they done? They've closed their borders. They're not doing any business with anyone external. They've shut their borders. So if you are shipping cars from Japan,
Yeah.
or doing business with Japan, where you need to go, your business is suddenly questioned and changes. So
Right.
the world of work, the environment of work, the things that seemed normal, government policy, business policies, have been shifted forever.
And you know, by the way, Japan, while talking about Japan, you've reminded me, I was reading some historical stuff, and Japan have closed themselves up in the past.
Yes.
You know, like in the, I think between the 1600s and I think 1800, early 1900, Japan had closed itself up.
Yeah.
They had said they only were allowing the Dutch into they were only trading with
Yeah,
the Dutch.
yeah.
Everybody else, they didn't want the Americans, they didn't want everybody else.
Yeah.
So they have learned their own way
Yes.
of operating.
Yes.
And they can decide you are in or you are out.
Or you're out.
Absolutely.
And they have already created an ecosystem of business that can sustain them even with that decision.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Now, should you find, you can make the decision of locking out, or you can find that you have been locked out.
Yes.
Everybody around you has said, we're not trading with you.
Yes.
What do? Do you have an ecosystem internally
Okay.
that can be able to support and sustain your economy?
Absolutely.
We must, at leadership level, whether it's governmental, political, business, corporate development, we must begin to think about those realities, because we have no control of what our external neighbors, parties, partners will do.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I like the way this conversation is going, and then we can maybe spend a little bit of time on that. An example. So right now there has been a very big conversation around building export, horticultural export, specifically avocado, the avocado, export opportunity.
Yes.
It's very huge.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people I know a few people in the industry, and there has been a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of excitement about it.
Yes.
So, but now the issue is, as we think about exporting the avocados, if our markets were closed, then
Yes.
we would have all our avocados here. And
Can we consume them?
We have not been activating the local consumers.
Yes.
You know, the local consumption, we've taken it for granted.
Yes.
And there are some people who are not interested in eating the avocados.
Yes.
So we have to have that dual thinking, and that really speaks into reshaping strategy.
Totally. We have to be reshaping strategy from a national development level to our businesses, to our homes.
Yes.
To our homes. All the way to the simple unit.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing that I felt that the wake of COVID brought was it really rocked our temperaments and character.
Speak about that.
Do you know that there are people who've been carved out for the conveyor belt kind of work? Wake up, dress up, go to a workplace, sit. Their psychology understand that as work.
Yes.
And have a supervisor supervising the work, somebody they can talk to and all that. There are people who are not, they're extroverts. Their way of thriving at work is being around people, being around colleagues and all that. Now,
yes.
COVID hits and everybody has to work from home. There are people who shut down. They went into depression. They are not wired to be able to be isolated, to sit in a place where their psychology tells them you're not dressed up, you're not going out.
Yes.
You're inside. That's not work. It can't be work. And you know, their performance was greatly challenged.
Absolutely.
They don't have a supervisor close to them saying, how is it going? They don't have the interpersonal engagement. And so their productivity completely, they felt completely lost. I went through that in terms of my teams. There are people that we took for granted that, you know, it's simple. We're just plugging and we're all working from home. You've got internet, you've got a computer. We can meet on Zoom once a week in terms of team dynamics, but there are people who just could not connect with that mode of work.
Yes.
And when we came down to it, we realized that the character and the temperament and the psychological needs of human beings are different.
Yes.
You cannot take for granted that this person can thrive in a virtual environment. And you know, the expectations to deliver still existed.
Absolutely.
You still have to drive impact, results, money, profits, and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yet your staff, and you cannot fault your staff, because did you prepare them for a virtual way of work?
No. There was no preparation, actually. I mean,
you understand? Did you train them? Did you deal with their psychology? Did you deal with their temperament?
Absolutely.
So the way of work completely shifted in terms of virtual, but the people, our staff, our teams, the productivity level, others thrive, because that brought the people who do not like, who work with minimal supervision, the people who just want to be random work at midnight to 6, as long as they're delivering out, you know, results, those people thrived thoroughly.
Absolutely.
Because the opposite environment was constricting them.
Absolutely.
So just also reassessing our teams, our people, the staff productivity and things like that is something that we needed to really look at and see. I think COVID shifted that, and I think most people have not paid attention to that.
Okay.
So they're still struggling with their businesses because they've not done a remapping, a reshaping, retooling of the people.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And,
Yes.
and ladies and gentlemen, so if you're looking for some services, some advisory services, Madam Nyakan is here, and you can tell actually she's got some brilliant ideas for you.
Yes.
So we can help, you can reach out to her and she can help in reshaping your teams.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
kind of making them the team for the future
Yes.
beyond
Yeah.
the COVID.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yes, you still have a little bit more.
I do. Now, agility
Yes.
is a word that I think we have to write down, have a relationship with that word, and manifest that word. Agility.
Yes.
Being able to be flexible and agile.
Yes.
Open-minded, not rigid.
Yes.
Because we asked, what are the wins and the losses? What did we, lessons learned, and what did we miss out on? I think the people who missed out a lot and can still miss out a lot are those who are rigid.
Yes.
Not open. The flexibility in the way of how you did things as a business, in the policies that you laid down. You're not willing to soften those policies. You're saying, no, it has to be like this. People have to report like this. They have to sign in like this. Those things are obsolete forever. Change. Drop them and quickly.
Absolutely.
Adapt
the biometrics
to what is relevant now and moving forward.
Because, there are some organizations with some biometrics. Those biometric systems,
Yes.
they produce reports.
Yes.
So I don't know what the guys are doing, because now you see the last time so-and-so clocked in, it's in this office is 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yes.
So are we going to still pay the salaries?
Are you paying salaries? And you want to be able to pay salaries based on how can I prove they can be sitting on a chair looking at you on Zoom, but are they being productive? So you have to really reshape, retool, and engineer your policies and your culture, the culture of work.
Absolutely.
It has to be realigned. And then we have to be agile. There are things we were used to doing, but there are things we must be okay now doing. For example, supermarkets, there were used to people coming in. In the wake of COVID, you quickly realize they're not coming because they're scared of their health, touching things, the sanitation, the exposure. Are you quickly willing to move into the convenience of your customer and still tap into that new market and new way of work for the future?
Yes.
Are you willing to find a way to have a relationship with the technology? Because most people, their rigidity, you know, and I'm not exempt from it, even though I'm a computer scientist, you know, just having to be all this tech, virtual, log into Zoom, log into Teams, find, you know, it's too much, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, are you able to move into a place of convenience? You know, COVID, one of the good things that it has brought is it has helped customers to accelerate into the area of convenience. Customers have more options now. When they talk to you, they say, are you going to deliver? If your answer is no, they move to the next person who's willing to deliver, to right where they are, including GPS, locate me, follow me, deliver to where I am. So those people who are agile and willing to adapt will tap into the new markets.
Absolutely.
They will tap into a whole new profitability, new revenue, new engineering. Let's look at the pension fund.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We looked and said, okay, can we now open up? Because we're struggling. You know, the traditional way of pension, especially when you're looking at suddenly people are let off and suddenly you have to pay.
Yes.
So you have to quickly think about how do you raise revenues, because you can't tell pensioners you can't pay them.
Yes.
Pension is pension.
Pension is pension. You have to pay.
You have to pay.
Yes.
How are you going to reshape your business in a way that you can tap into a new market that can draw in some money, right? And ride on the wave of the crisis.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So riding on the wave of crisis, these health issues, people need a health product, isn't it?
Yes.
We diversify, for example, in one of the pension funds that I sit in, in a number of the subsidiaries.
Yes.
This pension fund decided, let's diversify our pension money into an investment in insurance, that is health.
Yes.
Because we are dealing with a health crisis.
Yes.
People need health solutions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then simplify to the way that, you know, the border, you give them a solution, cheap, but you go for volumes, right?
Yes.
You look at the mama mboga, she needs solutions for health. You look at the youth, they need solutions. So you just do a mobile app. You don't need anybody to walk into anything. Just put an app. People can go into that app.
Yes.
They can get a pension for 100 bob,
Yes.
200 shillings, $5,
Yes.
and they're on.
Absolutely.
And they're protected. Their business is protected. It's cushioned.
Yes.
And you can keep the economy going, and you're tapping into a whole new segment in a time of crisis.
Wow.
And getting money.
Wow.
You understand?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And even just the review of the opportunities and the dynamics, you know, that we went through, it's amazing. And guess what? We got to go to a break right now.
Awesome.
Oh. Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe you're following this conversation. We are looking at retooling, reshaping for business for 2022 and beyond. And we're looking at, we've basically been looking at the background where we're coming from, how COVID actually did influence a lot of the new way that we have to do business. And my guest has really elaborated on very, very important areas that have shifted, you know, in the way we work, in the way we raise resources, and in the way we actually plan and shape our strategy. That's an amazing conversation. So we're going to go into a very short break. When we come back, we continue from there, and we're going to ask ourselves, what's the strategy for the future? How can we operate? How will you go into next year and the beyond, and how shall we do business differently? So don't go away. Stay tuned. We're coming back shortly. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Gigi Report. We are talking about reshaping business strategy 2022 and beyond. And we are talking about some of the dynamics. The last 2 years, COVID has completely shaped the way business is being done. And we have had before we went to the break, we had a very good review of some of the forces and the dynamics in there, what actually the lessons what that were learned and maybe what was missed, some of that. I know we haven't finished that conversation. We want to go back to that. And then we are also going to look at the forces that are shaping the business strategic agenda for small and medium enterprises and even big business. And we want to look at some of those forces and how those are going to apply. So just stay with us and let's continue with the conversation, Madam Nyakan. Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you. Just before we come to the forces, I just want to sort of hit two areas that I feel were critical,
Yes.
In the face of COVID, when COVID just landed.
Yes.
The area of health.
Yes.
Health was an area that was for surely shifted forever.
Yes.
The health status, health systems, health adaptation, preventive health. I think we've moved a lot into preventive health, where we are caring.
Yes.
And then I also think spirituality. In the wake of uncertainty,
Yes.
you don't know what tomorrow holds. We've never known what tomorrow holds,
Yes.
but now more than ever, we don't know. We're conscious of the fact that we don't know what tomorrow holds.
Yes.
And I think that people seeking a higher, calling, a higher reason, a higher purpose, and a higher connection with God, I think is something that for sure I think we have witnessed.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
That's a very positive thing.
Yes, yes.
And COVID actually did awaken people to the reality that life is extremely fragile,
absolutely,
very unpredictable.
Yes.
You may have your mother with you today, and
Yes.
tomorrow you don't have her.
Absolutely.
And it was very frightening.
Yes.
And very impactful. I mean,
Yes.
transformational
Yes.
in many aspects. And
Yes.
a lot of people have had to really think
Yes.
afresh.
Yes.
And that has also influenced, business,
It
like you
has.
say, actually.
It has.
Largely.
It has.
All
And
right.
just valuing what you have, valuing your business, valuing your colleagues, valuing
Yes.
your family members, valuing the opportunities that are presenting, because you have to be more conscious of time and opportunity
Yes.
now than ever before. Not that it was not important before, but now COVID has shown us that it really must value what you
I
have.
think you can say that again. Time and opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
You
Don't
have to
second
value.
guess yourself. When you know you have to do something, do it. When you know you have to be with your loved ones, visit, make the time. Be more intentional about your time and the decisions you're making.
Absolutely.
Whether it is financial, business, relationally, and always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can say that over and over.
Absolutely.
I mean, even like what you mentioned, a relationship.
Yes.
So here you are, you've been taking a relationship for granted.
Yes.
Or your family,
Yes.
very members of your family, you've really not paid attention.
Yeah.
So I think we were so comfortable.
Very comfortable. And I think that for me, I am such an optimistic. In fact, those who describe me, they say I am an indefatigable in terms of an optimistic beyond. I always see light even in darkness.
Yes.
And more than ever, I have tried to influence those around me to be more conscious to value
Yes.
the relationships, the opportunities
Yes.
that are around. Because opportunities also people took for granted.
Yes.
I'll do it tomorrow. I can do it next year.
Yes.
Well, you don't know what next year will have, if it will still be there.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that for sure we become more intentional and more sensitive about that.
Yes.
And I think it's a good thing. It has
Yes.
just accelerated us into that mode.
Exactly.
Right? Now, looking at the forces shaping the strategic agenda for our businesses, whether
Yes.
they're big, small, or large, we cannot ignore the global political climate.
Yes.
Like I mentioned earlier, we no longer have this predictable 10-year, 20-year period we can project as we could before.
Okay.
Pre-COVID, we could basically project our business climate, our political environment globally. Yeah, but right now, we can't even tell what China and America will be doing tomorrow.
Yes.
And yet they affect our economics in Africa.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yes.
China has created its own ecosystem that it's, internal, and we don't know what their political relationships are and how they're going to move just on the global forces. You don't know what Europe is issuing travel advisories and bans, which definitely affect those close to us.
Yes.
And today we could be doing business. Previously, it was quite stable. There was nothing happening in the world that was crazy other than terrorism, So,
Yes,
so as far as business, the red hot spots, I'm not, that's the hot spot. The rest, we're good.
Yes.
You can predict your business 10, 15 years.
Yes.
But now you don't know. Tomorrow, you don't know how Ireland is going to wake up. You don't know what Canada is going to be doing.
Yes.
You don't know, and you don't know how they're going to, and including where our children are going for education. Everything is simply unpredictable on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
So big forces, I think, the global economic and political climate, that unpredictability. And it will call for us in the business space, in the marketplace, in the church, wherever our spheres of influence are, to be mapping, praying, and asking God for guidance. But there is no time better than now to be tapping into the mind of God and the Spirit of God for guidance.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
The other thing I think that is a huge force that we cannot ignore, that has a big impact on our businesses, is technology.
Yes.
We're now moving into virtual reality faster than we ever thought, because we've been accelerated into that mode.
That's true.
Artificial intelligence, we cannot ignore. We have to just get a relationship, start understanding it, because it's our new reality.
Absolutely.
Big data.
Yes.
Because data now more than ever, we have to be trying to look at what is data telling us, because information is power. It has always been, but it is powerful now more than ever.
Yes, information has been
because you cannot. Long time you could just be in your own county, Baringo County, doing your business, not even caring about what Nyeri is doing.
Yes.
Because by and large, nothing much is going to happen.
Yes.
And if it's happening, it will be breaking news, so you will know it.
Yes.
But today you have to be reading. What is Nyeri doing? Was there something that came up that's going to affect my Baringo County business or dynamics?
Yes.
You have to be saying every day when you wake up, what is Uganda doing? What's happening in China? What is happening in Seychelles?
Yes.
What is happening in Mauritius? They've discovered, a new COVID drink there. Is it, which is this country that discovered
I think
the drink?
Was it
Madagascar.
Madagascar.
Yes, you have to be reading. You have to be knowing, this one now has banned this thing. 2 days ago, we just got a press release from Ghana.
Yes.
That says everybody who wants to go to Ghana from now on must be fully vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, they will vaccinate you. Now, that shifts your business instantly.
Absolutely.
So, data is so critical. Being informed on a daily basis, looking at what's going on around and about you.
Now, and actually, it's not just having the data, but a capability to process that data.
Absolutely.
And then also to access the data.
Yes.
And the latest version of that data.
Absolutely.
So the speed of access and the level of access you can access to, get into that data.
And then using that data to apply the information you're getting.
The analysis
for your
bit
business.
of it, yes.
For your business decision, for your strategic decision making, and for your vision. Now we have to be visioning continuously and progressively.
Because nothing is now fixed.
Nothing is static. Your 3-year plan will change every 2 months.
Yes.
Because so many things are shifting.
Absolutely.
So having a very progressive, agile, strategic plan.
Okay. Absolutely.
The other force that I see that we have to look at is the customer experience, behavior and needs.
Yes.
Our customers across the board, whichever sector you're looking at, have moved into convenience.
Yes.
So we must look and start aligning our businesses and our strategies to look at the convenience of the customer, because the customer has a lot of choices now.
Yes.
And the tech world is making that even more demanding.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And the last one I'd like to speak about in terms of the forces I feel are in the health space.
Okay.
Our health is a force that we cannot ignore. So many things are in the atmosphere that we can't even predict. Omicron, Delta, Alpha, whichever one next.
Yes.
And people are ignoring the fact that we should just not be focusing on COVID. I think we should just be focusing on a healthy way of life.
A healthy way of
life.
Yes.
Be preventive.
Yes.
Just have a new way of life.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think that we must start looking at critical areas: food, health, and education, and looking at how these forces, if these forces that we cannot control affect us, how can we continue to be sustainable in the areas of food, in the areas of health,
when you think about,
and in the areas of education?
Even when you think about public policy, for example, public policy must now become a little bit more refined,
Yes.
especially in those particular areas of food,
Yes.
Security. Okay, we say food security. I think we should be talking about food sustainability.
Yes.
So that if we were to close our borders as a
Yes.
country,
Yes.
we can actually survive.
Yes.
You understand?
Absolutely.
We can feed ourselves.
Yeah.
And so food, and then health, and
education.
And education.
Yeah.
So any country that is worth its salt, it really must make sure it's very, very well, it's functional in
Yes.
those particular
areas.
yeah.
And you know why those three areas are very critical? It has a direct impact on your workforce.
Okay.
If people are challenged in terms of food, they die.
Yes.
Your
certainly.
workforce is going down. Your economy then is going down. No productivity.
Yes.
If people are alive, they can have food, but they're not healthy. Then you have an unproductive workforce.
That's true.
Again, your economy is affected.
Yes.
If you have an education system that is not functional and relevant to context, then you're having the wrong skills for where you're going.
That's true.
So you're not optimizing your resources and your economic outcome. And that is the case across the board, whether it is your organization, whether it is your business, whether it is the nation, whether it is your family.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And by the way, there's a very huge problem at the family level, because I think a lot of, and I do hope lessons have been learned, that it is possible actually, the lockdown did actually manifest
Yes.
and reveal
Yes.
where it really hurts.
Yes.
If you want keeping money aside, if your economic system, your income, financial income system was not sufficient and well organized, all you needed is to just one pillar off.
That's it.
And that's it. You crumble. You're completely
Yes.
helpless.
Yes.
So, and I think that really just means that we have to pay attention to that.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So I think we can say that then, of course, having looked at those forces, I think the next thing we could look at is now how we can reshape these particular areas and aspects in terms of thinking the future.
Yes.
So how is that going to change the way business, the corporates, the big ones, various levels,
Yeah.
how that is going to influence how we change and do business differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think for me, I'm also quite honored and privileged to have been on this show today,
Yes.
because we're just ushering a season of elevation.
Yes.
And I'm on the Elevate TV.
Absolutely.
And because, this is kingdom agenda.
Yes.
We are on God's agenda.
Yes.
I believe that we're entering a season in 2022 and beyond of Isaiah 22:22,
Right.
where the key of David has been given to us.
Absolutely.
It has been placed upon our shoulders.
Uh-huh.
And certain doors that we must shut, they will never be open again.
Okay.
And certain doors we will open, they will be open forever. Okay?
Yes.
We need to be tapping into the mind of God for the blueprints and the models of the future.
Okay.
On the bare minimum. Okay? How does that happen? Just our connection with God, because there is a time when so many things are unpredictable. I tell you, have we even prepared our businesses for a day when perhaps we don't have internet and have no power?
Right.
Can your business run?
Yeah, that's a big question.
It's a big question.
Yes.
Just a few weeks, 8 weeks or so, 6 or 8 weeks ago, there was a day for a few hours, I think it was 10 hours or 6 hours or something.
Yes.
When WhatsApp, Google, internet, there was
Yeah,
WhatsApp and
was actually
Facebook
off.
and
Yeah,
all those were
offline, yeah.
off.
Exactly.
If your business is fully dependent, we're going, yes, to a virtual world.
Yes.
But we have to really be looking at multiple dynamics and really positioning ourselves in 2022 and beyond of different scenarios.
Exactly.
Have we built a resilience where we have scenario A and scenario B? Obviously, we're in the virtual world and we're tapping into that and maximizing. But should things switch off, which we have no control over?
Yeah. We have to think redundancy.
Okay?
Yes.
How does your business continue to function? How does your government continue to function? How does your network and your relationship with your demographic beneficiaries and constituents continue to work?
Absolutely.
So we've got to be thinking in those lines. And it calls for visionary leadership. Leaders who can see into the future.
That reminds me of, thinking about, that kind of resilience, building capacity for survival.
Yes.
That's why we have two lungs.
Yes.
And you can actually run with one.
Exactly.
So God, even in designing our own biological system, he actually created redundancy.
Imagine. Yes.
Natural redundancy. Yeah. You have two lungs, you have two kidneys, you can run with one of them. But God just gave you two. Yeah. Although you need one.
One. Imagine
how serious that is.
So scenario building is something that we cannot ignore. 2022 moving beyond.
Yes.
We need bold, decisive leaders.
Yes.
And I mean at all levels. At family level, because there are going to be decisions we have to make real time. And we have to not be too long-winded in decision making. We've got to be very decisive, see where we need to go and move.
Absolutely. Yeah?
Yes. Say, for example, you're in a boat. I told you I sit in some of these boats.
Yes.
And the crisis hit like this.
Yes.
We don't need leaders who are saying, but the policy says this, the law says this, we cannot move. No, right now, there are decisions on the ground, the crisis on the ground that is making a demand for certain things. We've got to quickly realign and make some decisions that will allow a certain direction to be taken.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yes.
So 2022 and beyond, there's going to be a lot of new opportunities, new changes. We need to look at reshaping and retooling sectors. Look at the hospitality sector.
Exactly.
Tourism. Anyone in the tourism sector and hospitality, you must already be on the drawing board. Have you thought about virtual tourism? Because people are not, there are more and more travel advisories are happening, travel bans, closing off people.
Yes.
Can you begin to start doing virtual tourism?
Right.
Virtual reality tourism, where you give the experience of Kenya in virtual reality.
Yes.
And people come into a space, they pay for it, and they experience it as if they were there.
Wow.
You're beating the odds.
Right.
So the new opportunities, the way of doing things 2022 and beyond calls for an open mind and swiftness and speed. Because if it takes too long to make those decisions to move, you're also losing money and time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe my guest, June, here is an amazing thinker, and I love your out-of-the-box thinking. And you know that way of thinking, and that's the kind of strategic thinking. When we talk about strategic thinking, that's what we are saying. We're saying that you have to pay attention to finer details and to project into the future. And look at both, push your models to the extreme.
Absolutely.
So supposing the travel advisories emerge everywhere. Europe shuts down. North America shuts down. And Africa and travel completely shuts down. How does that mean?
Exactly.
What does that mean? Then you have to ask yourself, can we still open our doors? That kind of thing. And so you have to think outside.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you're looking at strategic apostolic leaders. Leaders who don't mind pioneering, because it's a season of pioneering. So I encourage all our viewers to be open-minded to pioneering, doing things a new way, and being the first to do them. Because there are things that have never been done before, but the opportunity is presenting itself, and there's a demand because of the forces and because of the new realities. We must be able to flow now into the apostolic. Be pioneers, be hearing, be trusting, and be moving. That's why boldness and courage is going to be the thing that we pray that we get, that we're able to be bold and courageous, and to step forth even though we're fearful, to try. Because the alternative is not an option. If you don't try, you are languishing in only what you have known to this point. But there is more. There is much more. I do think that we're moving into a season of dominion, especially for those who are connected to God. Because we have the opportunity to do what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard, new things. I also think that the beauty with COVID and this whole COVID period, I think it leveled the playing field.
Absolutely.
The big players now, it didn't matter whether they're going to Nakumatt, Carrefour. What mattered is, can I get my food produce in my doorstep? Whoever can bring it to me, I go with that person. So new players can come in. As long as obviously you're operating from a point of integrity and you're actually delivering what you say you're delivering.
That's true.
Then there's a new opportunity. So now that the playing field is being leveled. Can we step into the playing field and present ourselves? So get rid of fear, get rid of all these mental blocks of I have not had this, I can't do this, I'm not as big as Safaricom. If you have a new tech solution, bring it on. People are more open now.
Yes.
Before COVID, they were rigid. They went with brands they knew because they had that luxury. Now they are more open. They are more open because COVID broke down things and made people reach the point where they just need a solution.
Absolutely.
And so they're more open. So we should tap into this as businesses and as solution providers.
Absolutely.
I think this is a time for Daniels and Josephs, people who are solution-oriented people, because there is a new need and demand. There's lots of problems. People are trying to grapple for what do I do, how do I do it? So solution providers must step in.
Absolutely.
Provide solution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even especially in the health sector, for example, there's a huge demand actually. Whether we're talking about just healthy living, not just the curative, but preventive, including health, personal health, gym services, healthy living, and all the associated. Plus, of course, Kenyans now know what something called concoction. How about
ginger, garlic, lemon, everything, the concoction.
How about somebody making a tablet?
Yes.
That is ginger, garlic,
lemon and everything. Convenience. We just pop it and we're good. Good one. That's it.
In your water. Of hot water.
Yes. I love that. You see, you've already got into one area.
Yeah, we've seen it on national television, and we should have maybe waited to patent
cooked
the idea.
Cooked it on our own, right?
But yes, there you are.
Yeah. You're looking at consolidating and aggregating our value chains.
All right.
Yeah, because the example you gave of the avocado, let's now look within. There's now an opportunity. Long time we used to look at the far markets.
Yes.
Now we can look at our internal markets, internal county to county.
Yes.
Country to country in Africa, intra-African trade.
Yes.
We can harness and aggregate our value chains. We can create demand for our value chains.
Yes.
By creating the products that we need and the solutions and the solutions that are being demanded for. Like, for example, in the health, we look at what are the things that are needed and create the demand.
Yes.
And then enhance the value chains.
Absolutely.
I think there's a good opportunity to enhance and develop our value chains and then our intra-county, intra-country, so that we are at least building, and I think mobilizing amongst ourselves is important, so that we can cushion ourselves from those global forces we have no control over. It's a good opportunity to come together and say, look, now we don't know what those people, but can we agree that at least here, let's collect with each other and let's trade amongst each other, at least so that we can build resilience and build a new economy here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's a very, very important point.
Yes.
And because we are running out of time and we got to wrap this up.
Yes.
And I like where we are. Looking at the, the strategies and the way we should initiate the various elements, including the value chain.
Yes.
Perhaps maybe the message to the church is what we can wrap up with.
Yes.
So within all this discussion of strategic thinking, how should the church itself, and by the church I mean the organized local church.
Yes.
So let's even focus just the organized local church, your familiar local church, my familiar local church.
Yes.
How can we employ some of this kind of thinking in reshaping how we deliver our ministry to our own congregations and people?
I agree. I think the church should step up. It's a great opportunity to move higher and to go deeper, okay? To provide guidance and leadership to our people so that they can create more impact and resilience.
Yes.
I think that it's time, a wonderful time for the, for the church to provide strategic direction. If you look at the Bible, the greatest kings of old, they consulted with the church.
Yes.
Kings consulted Prophet Samuel. You understand?
Yes.
The church.
Yes.
The children of Israel, when they were going to war, they came to Deborah.
Yes.
And they asked, how should we go? How should we war? What should we do?
Yes.
The church has a great opportunity. They are well positioned to tool, to equip, and to empower our people to thrive.
Yes.
Okay? I think the church is an environment, a haven for tooling and equipping, not just for word being thrown out, for tooling, for equipping.
So what you're saying is that we need to rethink the way we see church.
Yes.
it's an opportunity, because it's a place we come to.
Yes.
It's an opportunity for us to really have serious conversation.
Yes.
And begin to rethink and help people.
Yes.
You know, develop ideas
Yes.
and skills and shape thinking and attitude.
Exactly. So that when people come to church, they're coming to draw.
Yes.
They're coming to be, it's like a checkpoint. You're coming to be, you know, your tires are being increased, you know, the air is being pumped in, the engine is being washed, you know, it's been revamped to go back.
Exactly.
And to create impact in our areas of calling.
Absolutely.
You know, in 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32,
Yes.
it says of the sons of Issachar,
Yes.
who had understanding of the times and seasons,
Yes.
to know what Israel ought to do.
Absolutely.
The church is connected to God.
Yes.
They have an understanding of the seasons and the times, or they should have.
Yes.
You know, our leaders, we're
Yes.
connected.
Yes.
And so we ought to know what we need to be doing and tooling our people, empower them, inspiring them, giving them the word, building their faith. Because you see, in the midst of crisis, there's a lot of fear. And when they come to church, you equip them with the Spirit of God, which is of love and of power and of sound mind, clarity. Fear has to dissipate.
Yes.
Faith comes in, then they go out. Be able to guide them and tell them, these are the things that you need to be building. Build resilience. You've got what it takes. Open up your mind. Trust God. Go.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Amen. We got to bring this to a close.
Yes.
It's been an amazing conversation.
Yes.
My guest, Nyakan June, has absolutely amazing insights, and she's really been she has helped us, you know, shape our thinking and our ideas. I believe you want to watch this and re-watch this particular conversation today. Unfortunately, we got to bring this to a close. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Madam,
having me.
for being here.
Yes.
And a woman of God, I'm so excited, and thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we had for you today. My name is Godfrey Gichuki. I've been your host, and this is the Gigi Report. We'll see you another day, another time, same place, same channel. Keep it Elevate TV. God bless you. Have a good night.